everyone, and welcome to the Fake Love and Flying Monkeys mini podcast. My name is Nova Gibson and I am your host. As an expert on coercive control and narcissistic abuse in domestic violence relationships, my goal, my desire in these podcasts is to support victims and survivors and their families. So please hit that follow button, subscribe to this channel so you never miss another episode of Fake Love and Flying Monkeys. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Fake Love and Flying Monkeys. Funnily enough, in this episode, we're going to be talking about flying monkeys, and not just any flying monkeys, but in particular, flying monkeys in the family. Now, the reason I really wanted to do this episode is because people who come to see me in my counseling practice find it so hard to go no contact with a toxic mother, father, a toxic sibling, any family member, because of the guilt they feel in doing this, because this person is blood, number one. You're connected to them through DNA, through biology, but also because of history, Christmases, growing up with these people, birthdays, celebrations together, and the fact that you potentially will have to see them at family events in the future. Not to mention the pressure from society, where you are made to feel even more guilty if you try and go no contact from a toxic parent. Once again, this is considered taboo from society, from people who don't understand the covert abuse that you suffer behind closed doors, and people push you back into the arms of a toxic family member rather than saying it's okay to stay away from someone who is abusing you, no matter who that person is. So for those reasons and many more, it's incredibly difficult for victims to stay away from their abuser when their abuser is a family member. It's especially hard if it's a parent, because you have had that obligation and guilt drummed into you, the guilt, if you dare to have any needs or try and put boundaries in place. You've had that embedded in your psyche your entire life. So it feels like you're committing this egregious sin if you even try to put a boundary in place, let alone go no contact with an abusive family member. An abusive family member where the abuse is consistent patterns of behavior over space and time. I need to keep saying that so that you are not confusing an isolated incident from someone having a bad day, someone prone to bad manners, with the toxic, consistent patterns of behavior that destroy who you are, your self-worth, your self-esteem, and make you feel so bad about yourself. Now, because I've just recently uploaded an episode on toxic mothers, I'm going to make this episode relate to toxic, narcissistic siblings. Now, if you have done your research and you feel manipulated and gaslighted consistently, and you've never had a positive connection with this sibling, and now you know where all of these behaviors have come from, then normally you're also going to have a toxic, narcissistic parent there. But let's just look at the toxic sibling who is going to rely on a narcissistic parent to make the guilt and the obligation that you already feel, the obligation to continue to endure their abusive, manipulative treatment. They're going to rely on that toxic parent to support them. So I guess what I'm talking about in that scenario is the typical scapegoat child, golden child scenario, which is manufactured by the narcissistic parent very, very early on in your life. They must have siblings who can dispute their idea of their childhood when they grow up. So one child must be treated differently from the others or from the other, so that the golden child can always say, I had an amazing childhood. And of course, the scapegoat child is going to describe their childhood very, very differently. So here you have two siblings who will never be close, could never be close, because of the way the narcissistic parent set things up. And this just gets worse as they get older, because the narcissist will have their sources drying up, so they will call on the manufactured rivalry between their children, so that those siblings will give them the drama that they desire. So what does this drama look like that the narcissistic parent craves from their own children's rivalry, to give them that big fat smorgasbord of narcissistic supply? Okay, let me give you an example. You, as the scapegoat child, are trying to go no contact from your toxic sibling. Okay, you haven't yet addressed the narcissistic parent, but the sibling is just doing everything in their power to destroy your life. And every time you're near them, you come away feeling like you're going to rip your hair out because of their gaslighting and their passive aggressive insults. You're trying to go no contact from that abusive, toxic sibling, and the narcissistic parent calls you and says, look, it's really, really hurting me not being able to see my two children in the same room. Can't you just put your differences aside and come to Christmas with us? It means so much to me to have all my children there on Christmas Day, and I really just wish you could get over this ridiculous argument or whatever it is and just let bygones be bygones for me. What you will also no doubt be dealing with in that dynamic is the golden child, who will be making out like it's all you, and they're more than happy to have you there at Christmas and to let bygones be bygones. It's all you being petty, and they will be projecting this outward, and of course that's what they're going to be telling all other family members. It's your fault. And they rely, just like the narcissistic parent, on that obligation and guilt that you would be letting someone down. They rely on that to hook you back in to the cycle of abuse and to get you there at the table on Christmas Day, when they have no other intention but to increase the drama and to make you feel bad for even thinking about not attending. So of course you've got to deal with the narcissistic sibling forming an alliance with the narcissistic parent. That's a given. They are going to join forces, and you are going to be the one who's got all the issues. You're being small-minded, you're being selfish, and they will never be accountable for any of their behaviors. And certainly you will never be able to discuss with them your feelings around why perhaps you don't want to go to Christmas Day with the rest of the family. But let's just say that you've said to your parents and to the rest of the family, no, this is a boundary I'm putting in place. I won't be there on Christmas Day because such and such is going to be there, such and such being your abusive sibling. You're not falling for the old guilt and obligation tactics anymore, and you're standing your ground. Your boundaries are strong, even though it feels really, really bad because you're still dealing with the conditioned responses at having done something wrong because you put a boundary in place. You're still healing and grieving the loss of a family you never had, and you're kind of realizing you never will have. You're dealing with all that stuff, but you're standing firm. No, I will not be going to Christmas at your house because that person, be it my sibling or not, does not respect me, and I don't want to be put through that, and I'm going to have my own happy Christmas. So, oh my goodness, you've put a boundary in place. That's no good for the toxic narcissistic sibling. What are they going to do on Christmas Day? They need you there to give the passive aggressive insults to whilst smiling and laughing with everyone else who wonders why you're miserable and perhaps you're resentful of your sibling who seems to be trying so hard with you. What are they going to do when they can't feed off your narcissistic supply on that day? They resort to the flying monkeys. Now, just quickly, what is a flying monkey? I'll just explain it for those of you who are just tuning in, maybe for the first time. This is your first episode. A flying monkey, the term is coined from The Wizard of Oz, where the Wicked Witch had those ugly little monkeys that she sent out to do her bidding. So the narcissist uses what we call flying monkeys to do their bidding, just like the wicked, evil witch in The Wizard of Oz. They will dispatch their flying monkeys when they can't do it themselves, or they don't want to be seen to be doing the dirty work, and their hands remain clean. So The Wizard of Oz is where flying monkeys comes from. That's where the term is coined from. And if you've got a narcissist in your life, you will always have their flying monkeys because they don't have friends. They have followers and they have butt kissers. Narcissists can't have friends because they don't have the qualities that you need to have a genuine friendship with someone. So they surround themselves with followers and flying monkeys. So the narcissistic sibling can't get to you on Christmas Day, and they want you there. And they know that old fear, obligation, and guilt, the FOG, we call it. That's an acronym we use in narcissistic abuse recovery. They know that's a pretty handy trick to pull out of their bag to try and entice you into that toxic environment on Christmas Day. Now, before I go on, guys, I talk about this a lot in my counseling practice with my clients. So if you would like to have a one-on-one session with me, I am a professional counselor. I work specifically with victims and survivors worldwide, online. So just see my website link below. But getting back to who the toxic sibling uses to do their dirty work, which is to get you there on Christmas Day, so their Christmas Day is not ruined because you put your boundary in place. They use their flying monkeys. So who would be a typical flying monkey that a toxic sibling who can't get to you directly would use? So it might be an unsuspecting auntie or uncle that you love. So you're quite proud of yourself. You're feeling empowered even because you put that boundary in place and you're not letting your sibling walk all over you anymore. But here you have the auntie you love so much. You've always been close to them. And then here they are at your doorstep or calling you on the phone going, please come to Christmas. It just won't be the same without you. And your parents love you so much. And look, it's just one day. And hopefully you two can put things to rest and get over this, you silly little argument that you had. Blood's thicker than water and everything else they say to get you there because that's what the flying monkey has asked them to do. How hard is it to say no and to keep your boundary firm when you have this person that you love saying that it's important to them that you be there on that day? And this is what the toxic sibling relies on. They've called on what we call an innocent flying monkey, someone who does not know that they're being used as a weapon by the very person you're trying to distance yourself from. They're unsure or they really don't know the true dynamic at play, and they think they're doing a good thing. How hard is it for you to say to them, no, I'm still not going? It's incredibly difficult. And one thing that makes it even harder is the fact that the abuse is so hard to articulate. It's so covert in nature. It's covered up by the toxic sibling who wears their mask for everyone else. So you've got this auntie you love and adore. You can't explain the abuse. You feel guilty anyway for missing perhaps your first Christmas with the family, and you crumble and you say, yes, okay, I'll go, I'll be there. It's despicable that the narcissist does this. Now, we're not talking about a normal relationship, a normal family here, guys. So if you're thinking about, a little argument you had with someone in the family that you normally get on well with, and this argument is really upsetting you, but you want to maintain your boundaries, and you have someone else you love in your family that is kind of acting like a mediator, and you're secretly glad that they are because you just couldn't bring yourself to go near this person and try and sort it out, this isolated incident because of whatever reasons. You both got your pride. This is so different to that. Okay, those things happen in normal families, and another family will step in and go, hey guys, come on, we know you love each other, let's sort things out. This is so different. The difference is that this is not an argument. These are not communication issues between you and your siblings. They are issues of abuse. They are not relationship issues. And what everyone else sees as an argument, or what the narcissist is telling everyone else, is not an isolated incident, but rather is just part of an ongoing pattern of abusive behaviors. So that's the difference between a normal, healthy family having their little ups and downs, and the toxic, intentional manipulations that go on when you have narcissists in the family. So that's an example of an innocent flying monkey being dispatched to do the narcissist's bidding and draw you back into that abusive environment. But there are also toxic family members who are probably narcissists themselves and have anything but goodwill for you, and are resentful of you, angry at you, that you are daring to distance yourself from this amazing family that doesn't look good to outsiders, when they're hoping that everyone else thinks they are just family of the year. So an example situation of a toxic family member that your sibling has called on to get you there on Christmas Day so they're not missing their punching bag. An example might be the toxic auntie or uncle, the sibling of your narcissistic parent, who they have called on to make you feel bad and to dig that boot in even more. How dare you treat your mother and father like this? Can't you just get over it for their sake? And your sibling loves you so much, and they're such a wonderful child. They're willing to put bygones in the past, or to let bygones be bygones, and they're going to be there on Christmas Day. So why can't you do the same thing? Your toxic sibling knows how this will make you feel. Here you are, you can't go to Christmas Day, or you won't go to Christmas Day with your toxic family, and now the toxic auntie or uncle is really laying into you about what a horrible person you are, and you know that that's what they are going to be filtering out to the rest of the family. The smear campaign will be horrific, and you know this. And you've experienced it perhaps in the past, where you distancing yourself from your toxic sibling has resulted in other family members not talking to you because they have been told that you are the one that has all the problems, and you are the one that is just being so petty and not treating your family with respect and love. The recipients of the smear campaign will be manipulated by that toxic flying monkey to make you feel even more like an outsider in your family. If either of those scenarios sounds familiar, guys, I urge you to keep your boundaries strong. I know I say this a lot, but boundaries weed out the toxic people. We never lower our boundaries, which are just about us and our self-care, and only toxic people who want to walk all over you would expect you to lower your boundary. So whether it's a loving auntie or uncle that the sibling has dispatched because you're ruining their fun, or it's a toxic other family member who is just as abusive as your sibling, unfortunately, the result is the same. They are being called on as a flying monkey by your toxic sibling for you to lower your boundaries and to re-enter that toxic, abusive zone. Please don't. Keep your boundaries firm. The smear campaign is going to happen regardless. It doesn't matter whether you go to Christmas and have another miserable Christmas, just another notch on the bedpost when it comes to miserable Christmases. It doesn't matter whether you go or whether you stay away. They are going to smear you. So you've got to do what's best for you. And it can only be hoped that that loving family member will one day see why you had to stay away and be proud of you for keeping your boundaries firm. But flying monkeys are always around when you have a narcissist there. But it's particularly hard not to succumb to them when they're used by a sibling who is wearing the mask and who knows you and your vulnerabilities and also knows that they've done a really good job at abusing you and that you will be grieving a family that you never have and you never will have. They rely on the flying monkeys heavily when you put your boundaries in place, and you just have to keep them intact and let the flying monkeys know that you're not interested in talking about what you've already told your abuser is not going to happen, and hopefully they will respect your boundary. If not, then you may have to go no contact with them as well. And that brings us to the end of another Fake Love and Flying Monkeys episode. For those of you who have a toxic family member, in particular a toxic sibling, it is okay to go no contact from anyone who abuses you, but you've got to expect to have those flying monkeys sent out when you do put boundaries in place. Narcissists don't like boundaries, and when they can't get to you, they dispatch their flying monkeys. So please reach out, guys, if you'd like to have an individual counselling session with me. I am in Brisbane, Australia, but I counsel people worldwide as my sessions are online. You'll find my website link below. And as always, don't forget to share. If you can, sharing is the best thing that you can do to support this podcast. They do take time to make, so sharing, leave a rating, and of course a review. They all help. Subscribe to this channel, and don't forget we have our Fake Love and Flying Monkeys discussion group on Facebook. And also don't forget to look out for my book, Fake Love, Understanding and Healing from Narcissistic Abuse. On that note, until tomorrow's episode, it's bye from me for now. And remember, guys, you are worthy of love. You are worthy of so much more than a lifetime of fake love and flying monkeys.